Thanks for watching, folks. We're in Traverse City at Michigan College Planning. We're going to talk about workshops that are coming up having to do with financial planning. Vicki Beam from Michigan College Planning is with us. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks for having us.
This is kind of a deep subject, and there are a lot of different ways to go, but you're going to have workshops, several coming up.
Correct.
And what will people focus on, or what will you focus on when you talk about college financial planning at these workshops?
Well, unfortunately, the reason that I am doing what I'm doing is because this has become so overwhelming, not only for parents, but for students. So the purpose of the workshop is to actually help students start out figuring out, what do colleges want? What are they looking for? What are things that they can do to increase their admissibility? Parents, on the other hand, are thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to pay for this? So they're worried about, what is the financial component?
Right.
Where do we find aid? How do we choose the right school for our student so that they aren't coming out of their education with so much debt that really they're limited on where they can go and pay it back?
Yeah, college debt has really been thrown front and center over the past several years, because you hear all these horror stories about these kids who get out and they may not have found the perfect job that they had, but they're still saddled with all this debt.
Right.
So I would assume that would be one of the big things that you would discuss.
Right. And it's interesting that you say that. When you look historically at the increase of the cost of college, it has increased since 1978 over 1,100%.
Yeah.
More than double the cost of health care. That's what we hear in the news all the time, is healthcare. So absolutely, when we have students that are coming out with $100,000 of debt, and let's say they get married and their spouse also has that, most of them are starting out with debt that is more than what we have paid for our first home.
I don't mean to throw a monkey in the wrench here, what we're talking about, but I did read a story not too long ago where some colleges are starting to think differently about this and say, okay, I tell you what, you can get free schooling from us, but we're going to take a piece of your salary for a few years after you get out. Everyone's starting to kind of think about different ways of doing this.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because you really do have to think about the end in mind. So where is the path that you're heading? Think of choosing the school, hand, heart, and head. Head, logically, is it going to get you to that path that you're heading to? It might be trade school that's more appropriate for you. It may be that getting a 2-year degree at our great college in the backyard, Northwestern Michigan College, is the right fit. And then you have to think of, with your heart, it has to be a school that you love, and then hand, logically, and I should say financially, is it something that you can afford? So the students have to think about this, and they really need their parents as part of this, because unfortunately, most of them are going to need some help from their parents on how to afford it.
Now, this is not necessarily financial planning, but I think it fits in the dynamic of, well, make sure you're picking a major, and the reason you're going to school can actually lead to something.
Correct. I think it's really important. We actually have some sites for them to go to not only help them determine the actual path and what is a great career, what is the likelihood of them getting the job, what does the job outlook look like, and then most of them are keying in on what is an average starting salary.
Right. Okay. Now, how soon should people start? I mean, how old? Like, we have a 13-year-old as our old. Should we start now?
Absolutely. Yeah. Actually, it's never too late. It's never too early. Right. We have families that come in. As a matter of fact, we'll be doing some of the workshops at junior high. We have students that will be there from elementary school. Parents recognize the need to start planning early.
All right, let's talk about how people can find out where the workshops are.
Well, they can go to the LEAP website through TCAPS, and those are for the workshops that are here through the TCAP schools in Traverse City. We'll also be in Kingsley and Forest area at this time. We are also adding in other areas, so also check MichiganCollegePlanning.com for any of our workshops that we add down the line.
I think you made a very important point. It's never important point. It's never too late. It's never too early.
Right. And actually, unfortunately for families, this is coming into the most expensive time of your lives. Mm-hmm. If you do this the right way, you will, think about this, it's almost like buying a new car every year that your child is in college. So if you have a couple of children, that's 4 new cars.
All right. That just scared me to death.
So let's make it a Yugo, not a Mercedes-Benz.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right. Talking college financial planning, folks, in Traverse City. I'm Vic McCarty from my TV 12 and my News 26.